Alright guys, let's get the ball rolling. This is a brand new fresh account and we're going to launch our first EC2 instance. Now there are only very few things we're going to concern ourselves with right now, and as we go into more details we will explore further. So when we launch instance, the first thing first is a virtual hard disk which has some pre-installed software, and it is called Amazon Machine Image, and there are like all kinds of them: CentOS, RDS, Windows, but we're just going to use Amazon Linux 2 because it's free. So we get a free AMI for Amazon Linux. Now once again, the next thing, we want a free tier instance which is T2 Micro. The instance type, there are a lot of them once again, but this is the free one which has 1 vCPU, 1 GB of RAM, EBS volumes, network low to moderate. Now this is something sketchy, like you never can find out what exactly that means. So next, configure instance details, and most of this stuff we're going to leave default. The only thing we want to pay attention is the VPC. Like right now it's creating the instance in default VPC, and like in general you never want to use the default VPC, and we are going to create a new VPC, but I just wanted to show you where that comes into picture. And then there are 3 default subnets. I will just pick one. Auto assign public IP for default VPC, it's always enabled. A public IP is needed when you want to connect to a machine from the internet. If it doesn't have a public IP, it's not open to the world. So we don't want placement group capacity reservation, IAM rule. Actually, we don't need to worry about any of this stuff. Okay, except for one thing. This is the last box. It's called user data, and here you can execute commands that you want to be executed once, as soon as the instance comes up. So let's say you're trying to install Postgres or Postgres and PHP on this, and so I would say yum install Postgres. Not the exact command, but just to illustrate. Same thing, and PHP. So as soon as this instance comes up, these softwares will be installed, and then the control will be given to us. So once again, we're not doing that. Next, we're going to add storage. We're going to use EBS volume, 8 GB volume. There is another way to allocate disk. Let's say you're going to create a very IO intensive instance. In that case, you want to create an instance with provisioned IOPS. So in this case, you get 400 IOPS for a 8 gig size disk, but you can, like, the 3000 was the max. Now you can directly have 10,000 IOPS allocated to this machine. And if you don't know what IOPS are, like what EBS is, I'm going to create a chapter all the way to the very end. But like IOPS is kind of a common IT term, but I will explain it at the very end in a small chapter. So for now, we're just going to take a general purpose SSD, and the last one is magnetic standard, which is basically the spinning hard disk. Nobody uses that. Like, there is no point in using them. All right, so next, add tags. This is very important working in a actual production environment, but this is our machine, so we will just leave it here. And I guess business unit azads.us. There should be at least 5, but I think these should be enough. Next, configure security group. So we don't have any security groups here. One is default, and this is something that would get created. But what we want to do is every machine needs to connect to a Linux machine, you need to use SSH, and for SSH, you need to use TCP port 22, and it is open to 0.0.0.0. If you're not clear on this, go back to the IP addressing chapter and come back here. And let's call this VPC, not VPC, EC2 SSH connect. SG and SG for a security group, and then we're gonna say review and launch, and then it's just going to ask us to verify what's going on. Now when we say launch, this is a very important part. So we want, right now there are no existing key pairs, and what is the key pair? Key pair is basically like lock and key. The keyword is asymmetric encryption if you want to go and find out more details about this, but like for now you can just remember, like, we need this key to log into an EC2 machine, and what this allows us to do is log into the EC2 machine without using password. So let's say Joe's key. All right, we're going to call that, and now this is the only time you get access to this key, so do not lose it. So download key pair, and there we have our key. Now I am going to open it in my favorite editor, Idea, and this is what the key looks like. So let's get the machine launch started. Now while this is launching, let's take that key, which is here, copy it, and now we are going to put it in our machine in the right place. So we want to go to cd $home. This is your home directory depending on which machine you're using, and this is my home directory. Once again, these are basic Linux commands. I probably will make a small video at the very end, but this is something you should be aware of. If you're not, it's it's time to focus a little bit more on Linux, because without Linux commands you won't be going anywhere. Like, all of this stuff you can figure out later, but Linux is the key. Anyways, so we in the home directory there is a folder called SSH. Like, in the home directory there will be a bunch of folders, like and they start with .ssh on Mac. So AWS configuration will be in .aws. IntelliJ IDEA configuration is .idea, and the dot folders are invisible folders of file. So we come in here and we have 3 keys. So I'm going to remove the old key, and I'm going to create a new key, key.pem. And there is a problem with this configuration, but I'm going to leave it as is right now. And we have our key ready. Now this initializing, like last time I tried to do this video, this initializing took forever. So I'm going to pause this video and come back when it's ready to connect. Alright guys, our machine is finally ready to connect. So like we talked about in the IP addressing chapter, we need a public IP to be able to connect to this instance from the internet. Now there is a private IP also. So let's take the private IP and see if it lets us connect from the internet. So we'll go ping, and as you can see, it's not going there. But on the other hand, the public IP, if I can find it, is right here. So we will, okay, it's connectable. It was just my internet being slow. So right now it's asking us to add the fingerprint, which is just like an identification for the machine, and it got added, but it's saying permission denied, public keys. So the accurate way to log into this machine is to use SSH-I key.pem. This is the one that we downloaded. So this is how you specify the SSH key that you want to use when connecting to a machine. The default user on EC2 instance is called EC2 user, and then we put the IP address. Once again, it's not working, and it's actually showing the address, which usually is not that what do you call it, kind. Like, I have spent way too many times debugging this issue, but like basically you don't want to have public access to this key, and it just needs to be 600. That would be just read and write to the owner, and then we execute the same command again, and voila, we are in here. And we can verify the IP address. I have config -a, and this is the machine. That's the private IP address. It doesn't show the public IP address, but we will talk about that in a networking chapter. But this is it, guys. The main thing, like, I just want to show you how a how an EC2 machine is created right now. The things that we need to know is the VPC, which is the default one right now, but we'll create a custom VPC. Then we place it in a subnet, and then we need this key that we just generated. It can be used for multiple machines. You can create different keys, but we're just going to use this, and we need this key to connect to any machine that we'll create. So that I wanted to show, and that's it for this lesson. Thanks, guys. See you on the next one.